The wait is over. After 12 months, we are back to where the curtains came down on the 10th season of Udaan Business Leadership Quiz. Back with a bang. How good it feels, how melodious it sounds. Welcome to the celebration of human spirit. The Udaan Business Quiz returns for its 11th season with character and charisma. Free finally from a year of dormancy, and we revel specifically here with the smartest from the East Zone. I am your host and quizmaster for the day, Ajay Punya. At the very outset, let me begin by thanking those who make this event possible year after year after year. You, it's you, the viewers. Without you, there won't be no me taking pains to research for these questions. Without you, there won't be the Udaan organizing team putting their heads together to ensure this battle of minds has a new and upgraded look. And finally, without you, there won't be no sponsors who pitch in with some fine prizes that match the caliber of our contestants. So let me begin by thanking our sponsors. The Udaan Business Quiz is presented by Steel Authority of India Limited, National HRD Network Ranchi Chapter, and National HRD Network. Our associate sponsor, NTPC Limited, zonal sponsors, Tata Communications and SMS Group. National prize sponsors, Hexagon and MD India, and zonal prize sponsors, UPRNNL and Sarvesh Refractory. And one more time, a special message to Tata Communications, a special mention to Tata Communications, who specifically is the sponsor for the East Zone round. So thank you all sponsors. Now, as the sun rises in the east, so does a new season of Udaan rising from the east. Let me begin with introducing and welcoming our participants today. As participant 1, Sampad Mishra from SAIL Rourkela. As participant number 2, joining him is Ravi Shankar Saha from Capgemini. And joining them is Shashi Raut from SAIL CMO. On the other side of the table, as participant number 4 is Jyotirmay Rautia from SAIL Rourkela. Now for our penultimate participant, as number 5 is Abhijit Patnaik, also from SAIL Rourkela. And finally, completing the lineup in the East Zone final is Shashwat Seth from Rourkela Steel Plant SAIL. Well, welcome all of you. A quiz dominated by the Titans from Rourkela. Before I begin grilling our participants with questions, I'd like to welcome the backbone of Udaan Business Leadership Quiz, Dr. Kamakshi Raman, Executive Director, HRD, Management Training Institute, SAIL. She is also the President of National HRD Network Ranchi Chapter. Ma'am, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Ajay. मंजिल उन्हीं को मिलती है जिनके सपनों में जान होती है. पंखों से कुछ नहीं होता दोस्तों, उड़ान तो हौसलों से होती है. A very good evening to all of you and a warm welcome to the 11th Business Leadership Quiz Contest, a flagship event of the National HRD Network Ranchi chapter. You know, 2011, a small seed was planted. You know, we just had about 26 teams that time, 10 years back, 2011, from corporate houses in and around Ranchi. From that, we have grown really in size. Now we are a full-blown national competition of repute. I'm really happy to share that this year we had 360 participants from over 50 companies across the country. And congratulations to each one of you. You are the 6 people who have qualified from this 360 number from the Eastern Zone. This is a very keenly awaited event in the quizzing community. And as they say, knowledge is power. And the entire process of quizzing is based on this knowledge repository. Let me again remind you, prizes that you're going to get in this are going to be purely incidental and very, very symbolic. So it's important that all of you enjoy the quiz. So do not miss the woods for trees. So play hard, compete with a positive spirit. Without much ado, I would hand it over to Ajay Punia, who is a renowned quiz master of our country, to take it forward. All the best to all of you. Thank you. Best wishes.
Thank you, ma'am. So, participants, with words of encouragement coming from Dr. Raman, if you are all set, your objective today is to be amongst the top 2. But of course, the fact that you managed to qualify for the zonal round, you will collect at least rupees 5,000. But if you manage to excel and find yourself as the winner or the first runner-up, you will be rewarded with rupees 25,000 and rupees 15,000 respectively. So that sets the scene. There's big prizes to be won and reputations to be built in a small matter of 4 rounds, rules of which I will explain as and when we get there. And lest I forget, to our lovely audience who are watching us, well, you can participate alongside and win some prizes too. All you have to do is on Twitter, quickly head to Twitter. If you don't already follow, what are you doing with your life? Quickly follow National HRD Network @NHRDN. Please listen to the questions that I'll be asking for the audience after every round. Please reply with the answer to that Twitter handle @NHRDN on the same tweeted question, along with the hashtag Udaan 2021. Must include hashtag Udaan 2021. And of course, there's gift vouchers for the winners. And the winner is the fastest correct answer for each of these questions that I'll be putting to you. So audience, what are you waiting for? Head over to Twitter immediately, quickly press the follow button, and then come back here, wait for me to ask the question that's directed to the audience, and then head back to Twitter, quickly give that answer, and then come back again and enjoy the subsequent rounds that follow after that. Right, time now, back to the participants, 4 rounds of quizzing. Let's march to round 1. There's 6 questions. On the buzzer, this round is our first of 4 rounds. It's called crossword. 15 seconds is what you will get for every question. You will have a maximum of 3 different participants attempting on every question. Maximum. If you already have answers coming from the first or the second one, we don't need to reach the third one, right? First person on the buzzer, first contestant on the buzzer, answers for +10 and -5. Second contestant on the buzzer, answers for +7 and -5. And the third one is answering for +4 and a -5. So as you can see, the negatives remain constant. The amount of points that you stand to gain or positives keep declining with every attempt. So the first attempt gets 10, second attempt gets 7, the third one gets 4. If you're all ready, we shall start by taking a look at what the crossword is that you have all gathered here to solve. So this is the crossword. We will go in order. We'll go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in that order. So we'll start with the first one, 1 down. It's slightly longish, but I hope you enjoy it amongst the other questions that I'm hoping you will enjoy in the quiz today. Here is question number 1. In 2015, childhood friends Joel X and Ashley Y got married in Illinois. This was noticed by a fast food brand XY, who tweeted about it and then went a step ahead to foot the bill of the wedding. Owing to their last names, the wedding came to be known as the XY wedding. My question is, which brand? On the buzzer is Ravi Shankar Saha.
Yeah, this is Burger King.
This is Burger King, 6 letters and 4 letters. So Ravi, are you trying to say they are called Joel Burger and Ashley King?
Yeah, correct.
Seems to be a rather odd name, isn't it? But that doesn't matter. That is indeed the right answer. That's well done. It is indeed Burger King. So this couple, Joel Berger and Ashley King, got married. Burger King found out and they decided to sponsor the wedding. Right? So well done there to Burger King, and well done to Joel and Ashley. Congratulations. I'm guessing their marriage is going strong. And well done to Ravi as well. Wonderful answer there. First question, first answer on the very first attempt on the buzzer gets Ravi a +10. Right, well done. Now let's take a look at what the crossword looks like after the first question. So this is what it looks like. We will now move on to 2 across. It's an 8-letter answer. The second letter is U. So 2 across, second letter is U of burger in Burger King. So here it is on your screen, your second question now. Universe today has hailed what as the best engineering tool in space? Apollo 13, so some of these are its accomplishments. Apollo 13 used when carbon dioxide filters from a failed command module had to be modified after an explosion. In Apollo 17, used to repair a lunar rover bumper. In the International Space Station, used to construct a kitchen table along with leftover aluminium pieces. Also in the Discovery shuttle, used to craft a hacksaw for a repair mission. What is considered as the best engineering tool in space? It's been used multiple times in space. I gave you certain examples of that. Ravi again on the buzzer. Yes, Ravi.
Since it's 8-letter, so I will say duct tape.
You will say duct tape. That is indeed correct. Absolutely brilliant answer there by Ravi. Back-to-back answers coming in from our participant from Capgemini. That's well done. It is indeed duct tape, and you can see one of the rovers being repaired with a duct tape. Lovely answer there, Ravi. Back-to-back answers gets you another 10-pointer this time. And now let me place duct tape. So now we move on to 3 down. It's a 4-letter answer. There's nothing revealed as of yet. Let's take a look at the question on your screen. After generating a long list of potential names and writing them all over the walls, this name was finalized. It means holder of precious things in Mandarin. The team liked the name because it was short, fun, easy to pronounce, and did not have any meaning in the English language. Which brand that was the first among all its competitors to use plus way back in 2010? Well, no surprises, Ravi again.
So Hulu, this is Hulu, the goat type of which holds the precious things in Mandarin, it's called. So the streaming site Hulu.
Streaming site Hulu. And so you're saying it's the first among all its competitors to use plus? Yeah, just like Apple Plus, Disney Plus, and all the others. That is indeed correct. That's the answer, Ravi. A hat trick of answers coming in from Ravi. Well done. A very inspired performance. That's another 10-pointer, but will he be as inspired as a certain Mumbai-born New Zealander who got all 10? Right. For the moment, Ravi's got 3. We'll see which direction we go to in the next question. That's 3 10-pointers for Ravi from Capgemini. Let's place Hulu in the crossword. Right, so now you have something to play with. Okay, so you have, no, sorry, we go to 4 down. You don't have anything to play with. I was looking at 5 across. We'll go to 5 across, but later. For the moment, we'll go to 4 down. It's a 7-letter answer. Nothing revealed as of yet. On your screen now. Take a look at the visual. The question will follow. Here's your question. The classical Latin alphabet consisted of 23 letters instead of the 26 used in English, with notable omissions of 3 letters. One of these omitted letters was merely used as a variation of another, which it appears consecutively with in the English alphabet. This explains why an eponymous luxury brand with the name that's derived from its Greek founders is stylized this way. Which brand? On the buzzer is Ravi Shankar Saha again.
So Ajay, this is Bulgari. They changed V as U or U as V. The other way.
Right. So that's the one of these omitted letters was merely used as a variation of another alphabet, which it appears consecutively with. So you and we, Bulgari or BVL Gari as it was originally written. That's well done, Ravi. I think he's really sought some inspiration from fabulous cricket performance that we saw the other day. That's 4 consecutive correct answers coming from Ravi. It is indeed Bulgari, and the person that you saw on the screen was the founder, Sotirios Vulgaris, originally hailed from Greece, migrated to Italy, and then started this entity. That's well done, Ravi. We'll place Bulgari on the crossword, in the crossword as well. Right, now to 5 across, second alphabet U, and the 4th alphabet is E. On your screen now. On the right is a beer which is fermented to such extent that there is no trace of sugar at all, and that's why they are called X. Below is a British clothing company's brand identity, part of their brand identity, that began in 2003 and is also called X. My question, what is the shared name between the two? We are still continuing with action replay, still playing with Ravi. Yes, Ravi?
This one was by mistake, so I will take a guess. This is Marmite.
Is incorrect. Ravi, this time losing track, giving a wrong answer, takes a negative as a result, gets a -5. There's nobody else on the buzzer. The answer that I was looking for, the beer which is fermented to such extent that there is no trace of sugar at all, is called Super Dry. Right, so this is Super Dry. You see this Japanese text on Super Dry clothing as well. I'm told that this text really doesn't mean anything, or perhaps is a loosely Google translated term of Super Dry, but perhaps native Japanese speakers don't quite. But that's the answer that I was looking for. Super Dry, that's incorrect there by Ravi, gets a -5. We'll move on now to placing Super Dry in the crossword.
Ajay, am I audible?
Yes, Sampath.
I buzzed last time on Super Dry.
But that was way after 15 seconds. You have only 15 seconds, Sampath. You can't be pressing the buzzer after that. There's a timer on screen. Please keep that in mind. All right, so last question of this round, 3rd alphabet G, last alphabet as I. On your screen now. Owing to apartheid, this Gandhian businessman had to leave his 500-acre estate in South Africa. He came back to India with a letter from Gandhi, no less, vouching for his skills. What brand did he begin, whose name or logo suggests it is accessible to all classes? This time we're taking a different route. It's Sampath who's on the buzzer first. Yes, Sampath.
This is Bagh Bakri tea.
This is Bagh Bakri tea. And who's the gentleman in question, Sampath?
No, some Patel or something. No idea.
Some?
No idea. Yeah, I don't remember the name.
No idea, but that's okay. That wasn't the question. The question was which brand. The answer is indeed Bagh Bakri. As the logo suggests, the brand is accessible to everyone, people of all classes, the higher and the lower classes. That's well done, Sampath. Finally, Ravi Shankar, who's been surrounded by SAIL participants all across, wasn't under any sort of pressure to give some wonderful answers in the early part of the quiz. And now finally, we've seen some answers coming from our participants from SAIL as well. So Sampath's taking a +10 on this one, although Ravi did show interest, but of course Sampath went first. So Sampath gave the answer. Right, so this was indeed Bagh Bakri. That brings us to the end of round 1. We won't take a look at the scores at this point. We'll take a look at the scores later after we're done with round 2. That's when we'll also be asking certain audience questions. For the moment, we'll move on to round 2. This round is called Challengers Deep. There's one question to each participant, starting with Sampath, who's our participant number 1, all across to Shashwat, who's our participant number 6. Each participant gets a question, 10 seconds for the others to challenge the direct participant on the buzzer. And after, if nobody's given a challenge, nobody's presented a challenge, then the direct participant can just give the answer without the fear of negatives, take 10 points if correct, no negatives if wrong. The others, you only have 10 seconds within which you can challenge. Otherwise, the following 10 seconds are, you can also use to hit the buzzer, but then you're not challenging. That's when the direct participant is carefree of the negatives giving the answer. But if somebody is presented a challenge, the direct participant can either decide to accept or reject the challenge. If you accept the challenge, you are now answering for +10 and -10. But if you reject the challenge, the question goes to the challenger and they're answering for +10, -10. And if they're wrong, after collecting a -10, question comes back to the direct participant, but this time for half the positives, a +5 and still no negatives. If you still don't know the answer, question goes to other participants on the buzzer. There's 3 buzzers permitted, and +5 and -5 for all 3 of the participants on the buzzer. I hope that's clear. We'll start with our first question. That's a direct one to Sampad. Everybody else on the buzzer. X, its first definition, equivalent to an affirmative sentence. The answer to your question is affirmative. It is as you say or as I have said, the statement, etc. made is correct. The second definition, an acknowledgement of one's presence. This is a textbook definition of a word that fills in the blank or basically is the X. Though X is easy, the text above is found on establishments of what organization that has had a troubled last few years. If you can identify what X is, you know the name of the organization I'm speaking of. So it's a textbook definition of X that I've given here. Right, time is up. There's nobody presenting a challenge. So Sampad, without the fear of negatives, you can tell me what your answer is. What is this the definition of? 2 seconds, Sampad. Right, your time is up. Your time is up. There's no answer coming from Sampad. I thought this was pretty easy in terms of, the definition that I'd given. It was the definition of this word that we're all pretty familiar with, and it's called yes. Right, so this is Yes Bank. This is textbook definition. You'll find it in all possible dictionaries. This is what the word yes means, and you find it on the ATMs of Yes Bank as well, on that translucent glass window pane, on the glass doors of Yes Bank ATMs, and perhaps in their bank branches as well. Right, so they have this definition of the word yes. Right. Unfortunately, I have to say no here because nobody gave the right answer to this question. So we'll move on to our next participant. That's Rabi. Rabi, if you're ready.
Yes, I am.
All right. So here is your question. Others, if you're interested on the buzzer, it's a 2-part question. So please give me both parts. But although if you get one part, certainly the linear thought would be to reach out to the second part, but still for the sake of clarity, just give me both parts. Here's your question. Arjeplog is a Swedish town where winter temperatures reach as low as -40 degrees. Since the 1980s, it has become one of the most sought after places for a particular industry for a very specific purpose, and thus has led to spawning of companies that help out. As snow begins to fall, almost 9,000 representatives of over 15 companies descend on the town's lakes for research. Who are these people quadrupling the town's strength every winter, and why do they go there? Don't answer right now, Rabi. Just think about it. Wait for challenge to come in. 5 seconds remaining. Anybody interested? Which industry and who are these people? What are they trying to do? Right, there's no challenge coming, Rabi, so you can give an answer without worrying about negatives. 5 seconds.
This is, I'll say, I don't have an answer, so I'll guess it as a matchbox.
Matchbox industry, and what purpose would it be?
So anyway, I did not have an answer, so it's a pure
Well,
guess.
that's
so,
incorrect though, Rabi. The answer that I was looking for, it's a town which has a lot of lakes, and these lakes get frozen with temperatures as low as -40 degrees. And when temperatures are so low, there are lots of representatives of various companies who get there to test out their products. What company? Or what companies? Automobile companies. So they go there, test out the products on lakes. They don't have to worry about traffic on roads. So you can test out the products on flat lakes which are frozen and test out what automobiles can work in such stressful conditions. No answers coming from anybody else either. No points to anyone. We'll move on to our next participant. That's Shashi. Shashi, if you're ready.
Yeah, I am.
All right, Shashi, here's your question. Everybody else on the buzzer. Once the Duke of Wellington stepped in as the place's new constable in 1826, he whipped the warders into shape pretty smartish. This involved sacking the worst incumbents and abolishing the practice of professionals selling on their position to anyone who had a spare 250 guineas. Now, there are only 37 employed in this role, including a Raven master. It is a tourist attraction, and these people are a tourist attraction. Who are these professionals and where would you see them? Now, you have a challenge coming from Ravi. Shashi, you have to decide whether you will go for it or you will let Ravi answer.
I'll let him answer.
All right, Ravi, what is your answer?
This is also a guess. I will say gondola driver in Venice.
Gondola riders in Venice. I'm afraid that's incorrect. That's a -10 to Ravi. Question goes back to Shashi. It still is on the buzzer for the others. Shashi, do you have an answer? +5, no negatives.
What I would say is this is the Buckingham Palace. I think this is basically the position of the head of the Buckingham Palace, and the people who are working under him. The 37 employees would be the guards.
The 37 guards of the Buckingham Palace. I'm afraid that is incorrect, but you are geographically in the vicinity, because what I'm looking for specifically are the beef eaters at the Tower of London. These are the beef eaters at the Tower of London. And as the popular legend also goes that, you know, if the ravens disappear from here, the monarchy will also disappear. The fall of the British Empire will happen, right? So, or the monarchy actually, not the empire. So that was the answer that I was looking for. Negative there to Ravi, gets a -10, unfortunately for him, and perhaps good for others. We'll move on to our next participant, number 4. That's Jyotirmay. Jyotirmay, if you're ready.
Ready.
Here's your question. In 1953, Vincent J. Blank founded a company called Capital Blank Corporation. These are two different blanks, to promote the profession of his father. The company was renamed thrice in 1963, 79, and 2002. Their current leadership team includes Chairman and CEO Vincent Kennedy Blank and Chief Brand Officer Stephanie Blank. Vincent's wife also held the CEO position, but resigned to run for Senate and worked under Trump. Which family and which brand? So fill in the blank, both the blanks. One is a 7-letter blank and the other is a 9-letter blank. There's a challenge coming from Sampad Mishra. Jyotirmay, what will you like to do?
Accepted.
Accept. Accept means you will answer. You will answer, Jyotirmay, or you want Sampad to answer?
No, he'll answer.
All right, so that means challenge rejected. Okay, Sampad, what's your answer?
This is Vincent McMahon, WWF, WWE brand.
So what is the blank, 9-letter blank?
Founded a called Capital Dash Corporation. Okay, you need both.
Yeah, 7 and 9, two different.
Wrestling Corporation.
Yes, correct. That's the answer. So it was Capital Wrestling Corporation. I mean, I wouldn't have taken it away from you. I would have continued to make you struggle till you finally had the answer. Thankfully for you, you did not struggle too much with it because you knew absolutely everything about the answer. That's the answer. That's well done there, Sampad. It is indeed the McMahon family, originally called the Capital Wrestling Corporation, renamed again repeatedly, was once called WWF, World Wrestling Federation, had a, battle for brand identity, legal tussle with WWF, the Wildlife Fund for Nature, and then they rebranded it to WWE, World Wrestling Entertainment. Right? That's the answer. That's well done, Sampad. +10 to you and nothing to Jyotirmay, who was originally our intended direct participant. We'll move on to our next question, next participant, Abhijit. Abhijit, if you're all set.
Yes.
Here's your question. In February 2020, two companies from the US and from Europe, both of whom have avian mascots, got together. They did a crossover marketing campaign in which the mascots go on a rage, wreaking havoc owing to being constantly ignored from being tutored. What two iconic avian entities collaborated together? 5 seconds for others to present a challenge. There's no challenge coming. So Abhijit, without the fear of negatives, can I have your answer?
Pass.
Nothing. Still 5 seconds for others to hit the buzzer if interested. No, there is nobody attempting this. So one from the US, one from Europe, both have avian mascots. The answer is Angry Birds and Duolingo. Right? Angry Birds and Duolingo. It was a crossover marketing campaign where the Duolingo owl also became angry and wreaked havoc when they were poking with constant reminders of learning the language. They weren't paying attention. So the Angry Bird and the Duolingo owl got together and wreaked havoc in a pub. Wonderful video. Feel free to watch it, but after the quiz. Right. Final question to Shashwat. Shashwat?
Yes, sir.
Here's your question. Others on the buzzer. The Shah of Persia on the left has the first known claim on this staggering ability and went on to extend his title to include this particular feat. An editor at Esquire, person on the right, did it too, and wrote a book about it. Bill Gates claims to have done it once. Elon Musk claims to have done it twice. All these claims are about what quest for smartness? You have challenged Shashwat. This is your direct.
No, it was
You don't
just
have to
by
hit the
mistake.
buzzer.
No,
So it's
was
open on the
just by
challenge
mistake.
for others. 2 seconds. Right, Shashwat, you didn't have to hit the buzzer. This is your direct. What is your answer without the fear of negatives? What quest for smartness? Shah of Persia, Elon Musk twice. No answer coming. Ravi, buzzer came in too late. The answer that I was looking for, however, Ravi, if you're interested, feel free to give an answer. No points though.
Yeah, this is for know it all, kind of the quest for know it all. It is.
Just be thankful that I did not let you answer this question on the buzzer. Yeah. Ravi, you're very experienced as a quizzer. You know I can't be requesting or looking for vague answers. Right? That's really vague. The answer that I was looking for, the quest for smartness here, is to fully read Encyclopedia Britannica. Right? So Elon Musk claims twice. The Shah of Persia actually renamed his title to, Master of the Encyclopedia Britannica and some grandiose descriptive terminology like that. No points to anyone on this one. That brings us to the end of the second round. Before we move on, it's time for us to ask some questions to our audience who are witnessing us from various platforms. So a question for the audience halfway into this quiz. Your first question, remember, after listening to my question, you have to head over to Twitter, follow @NHRDN if you don't already. And the question that will come alongside, on that question, reply with your answer along with the hashtag Udaan2021. Here's your question. The name by which we know this particular machine was surprisingly acquired around the time that it was nearly outdated. It followed the Bone Shaker and preceded the design which is still in use today, but in a more even form. Albert Pope brought the production of this machine to US from England. It can also be found in the Skoda Auto Museum. What machine is this, which Albert Pope brought the production of to the US from England? It's now really outdated and it was replaced by something that has a more even form. So what is it that I'm speaking of? Take about 10 seconds, head to Twitter and give a response on the very same tweet, which has the same question. So we've tweeted this as well from NHRDN's Twitter account. So please respond there. Right. So I think the time for audience is up. I'm guessing they would have already responded by now. So we will move on to our next round. But before that, we'll take a look at the scores. Scores are as follows. At this point in time, we have only 2 participants who are giving answers really. I'm sure you've been following that. It's Sampad from Rourkela Steel, who's currently placed second, but at a score of 20. And currently leading is Ravi, who had a fine start earlier, but towards the second half of this quiz, till whatever we've done till now, faded away a bit. And as a result of which, he is just 5 points ahead of Sampad at 25. So those are the scores. Everybody else is yet to open their account. We haven't had anything coming from any of our other participants. Remember, we're playing for the top 2 spots, right? So we're playing for top 2 spots. We will move on now to our third round.
Okay, top
It's
2
called-
will go to finals, right? Okay.
Sorry, Sampad, you're saying something?
Top 2 will go to finals.
What will be the?
Top 2 will go to finals.
Yes, the top 2 will go to the finals, right? I announced that, Sampad, you weren't paying attention. Anyway, so this round is called How's That? Inspired by cricket, inspired by fine performances of a New Zealand bowler and the Indian cricket team. It's called How's That? Participants will be paired in descending order of scores, but as things stand, we have 4 participants who haven't yet opened their account. So all of them, we will be forming we will be dividing them into 2 pairs. I'll tell you a bit more about it later. So how it works is one of them is a batter, the other is a bowler. I'll be displaying a set of 7 topics. From those 7 topics, the bowler will pick a topic for the batter. The batter will try to give their best answer. If they're correct, they get 10. If they're incorrect, the question passes to the bowler. If the bowler gives the right answer, bowler gets +5, and the batter gets -5. But if both of you are not able to answer, question passes to any of the other participants on the buzzer for +5 and -5. And there will be 3 buzzers permitted. So those are the rules. We'll take a look at the topics and we will ask Shashi, we'll go in descending order. So Sampad and Ravi are paired together. Since Sampad's at 20, Ravi's at 25. Sampad, you'll pick a topic for Ravi, while the other 4 participants will be on the buzzer. Sampad, quick.
Yeah, geology.
Geology. All right, Ravi. Remember, if Ravi doesn't answer, Sampad, the question comes back to you. All right, Ravi, please unmute. Participants, please keep that in mind that you have to unmute yourself. Please don't
Please.
let me ask repeatedly.
Yeah.
All right, here's a question for you, Ravi, on geology. If you don't answer, question goes back to Sampad. Right, here's your question. Everybody else on the buzzer. Fostering the idea that the world is united, as it quite literally was in the late Paleozoic and early Mesozoic era, so represented by the picture on the left. Name this, the picture on the right, intelligence firm providing analysis and forecasts, political, security, and economic risk in Africa and the Middle East. What name am I looking for? Its name is derived from the image on the left.
So Ajay, do I need to answer it or I can pass it?
Yeah, you can pass it also, but there's no negative. Right, your time is up anyway. Question goes to Sampad.
Yeah, no, I don't have an answer.
You don't have an answer. There's nobody else on the buzzer. The answer that I was looking for is Pangaea. So it was originally Pangaea, the supercontinent, is what I was looking for. Nobody answered this, so no points to anyone. We go back now to Ravi now.
Sampad get negative or no?
Not right now.
Okay.
Right. Okay, Ravi, very hopeful. Pick a topic. So I will tell you how Sampad can get a negative now. If whatever topic you pick, Sampad doesn't give a right answer, but Ravi, you do. Right. So that's how Sampad will get a negative.
Okay, I will pick first in USA.
First in the US.
Yeah.
Sampad, this is for you. Others on the buzzer. A Pennsylvania scientist improved the production of pot ash and pearl ash by specifying new procedures. He specified that pearl ash could be made by burning the raw ashes in a furnace, then dissolving and boiling them in water, then drawing off and settling the lye, and finally boiling the lye into salts. After this, potash could be created by fluxing the pearl ash. This, while gaining widespread use, also earned him, the Pennsylvania scientist, the first blank in US and also in Canada, just 3 months after the then President George Washington signed the law. Fill in the blank. This is the first what in the US and also in Canada. Sampath.
Can I pass or I have to answer anyway?
No negatives either way.
First, patents or patent.
So this is the first patent in US and you wanted to pass. That is indeed correct, Sampath. Absolutely. That's the first ever patent in US. That's well done, Sampath. Gets you a +10 and you turned out winner in this match. Right, well done. 10 points to you, Sampath. Next question. We'll now go to our next pair. That is Shashi and Jyotirmay. So Shashi, may I request you to pick a topic for Jyotirmay? Shashi?
Commemorative typeface.
Commemorative typeface. It's on the buzzer for everybody else. Jyotirmay, this is your direct. A European ad agency, as part of a commemoration a couple of years ago, created this typeface. They said, "We hope it will remind audiences of our hard-won freedoms, which we must cherish." It was an attempt to give voice to the voiceless blank and was called Voice of the Blank. What now non-existent entity was it inspired by? Or just fill in the two blanks. Both blanks are the same. Voice of the blank. Attempting to give voice to the voiceless what? Jyotirmay. 3 seconds.
Pass.
No answer. Passes to Shashi.
There's no negative marking, right?
No negative.
Voice to the voiceless masses.
Masses. I'm afraid that's incorrect as well. The answer that I was looking for, a European ad agency has specifically avoided giving the country, just gave the entire continent, was graffiti on the Berlin Wall. So it's the voice of the voiceless wall, right? So that was back from 30 years of the fall of the Berlin Wall, right? That's the answer that I was looking for. Hard luck, no points to anyone. Next question will be decided by Jyotirmay for Shashi. Jyotirmay.
I choose a changed brand identity.
Changed brand identity. All right, here is your question on changed brand identity. Shashi, your question. The older identity of which annual event portrayed the summer and heat very well, but was not gender neutral and did not translate well into the digital sphere. So it was changed in 2017. The job was given to branding agency called Lander. Unlike the older identity, Lander didn't want to go with the ideology of explaining everything in print itself, rather infuse initials with bold, energetic, and active style. The previous identity was adapted in 1995 and featured a Swedish world #1 once. The identity of what annual event am I speaking of? Shashi. No negatives. 3 seconds. No answer. Passes to Jyotirmay. No guesses. There's nobody on the buzzer either. The answer that I was looking for, the annual event being the Australian Open, right? Stefan Edberg being the Swedish #1 whose silhouette was there. So this is the Australian Open. They changed their brand identity a few years ago. No answer coming from anyone. We'll move on to our final match now. That's between Abhijit and Shashwat. I'll request Abhijit to pick a topic for Shashwat.
Bill Gates research.
Bill Gates research. Shashwat, this is a question for you. You do not have to hit the buzzer, Shashwat. Okay. Others on the buzzer, except Abhijit and Shashwat. Look at the visual. And now my question. The chemical culprits are quite complex. Researchers were called from Firmenich, a family-owned fragrance and flavor company based in Geneva. The researchers isolated 4 main culprits: indole, p-cresol, dimethyl trisulfide, and butyric acid. Then they created the natural effects. To make sure they got their research just right, they tested it in Switzerland, India, and Africa for feedback on closeness to the original. This is what Bill Gates wrote in a blog explaining what research that he supports to eradicate a major problem in developing countries. Shashwat. No negatives? Any guesses? Shashwat?
That
No, your time is up. Question passes to Abhijit.
Any research to eradicate malnutrition?
Malnutrition. No, that's incorrect. On the buzzer is Sampad.
What he did is convert urine into drinking water actually. Sewage into drinking water, urine into drinking water. That is the problem he was solving.
So converting urine into drinking water, I'm afraid Sampad, that is incorrect. That's a -5 to you. The answer that I was looking for, arguably worse than that, is a poop odor or perfume, right? So that was the smell of poop, right? A perfume that smells like poop. Just, Bill Gates doing Bill Gatesy things. That's all. Sampad, that's a -5, unfortunately. Final question now will be decided by Shashwat for Abhijit.
The budget not coming.
I will.
Sir, Indo-Pak trade.
Indo-Pak trade. Abhijit, it's a two-part question, and everybody else on the buzzer, it's a two-part question, so I need both. Here's your question, Abhijit. Indo-Pak trade. Back when Indo-Pak relations were somewhat cordial, the Parsi parliamentarian Isfanyar Bhandara initiated a dialogue for a beer diplomacy with another liquor baron across the border, who even visited him in 2007. However, it did not materialize as tensions rose soon after. Which two cross-border breweries were these? Indo-Pak trade. There were talks of, selling the Pakistani beer in India, the Indian beer in Pakistan, but it didn't materialize. Abhijit, I need an answer.
No.
No answer. Goes back to Shashwat.
Pass.
Passes to Rabi on the buzzer.
So this is Pakistan brewery is Muri, and the Indian one is UB of Malias.
All right. United Breweries and the
Muri
Brewery from Pakistan. Let's take a look at the answer. There's nobody else on the buzzer after you. That is indeed correct. That's the answer that I was looking for. That's well done. Rabi absolutely gets you a +5, indeed. And that brings us to the end of the third round as well of this quiz. We'll move on to the next round, but before that, we'll take a look at the scores. And even before that, there's a question for the audience. Right, so audience, you know the drill. Head over to Twitter after listening to my question, and on the very same tweet, which has this question that I'm going to be asking right now, respond with #Udan2021. Try to give me right answers. There's no negative for you, but certainly if you do give a right answer, there's some gift vouchers coming your way. My question: the Eastgate Center in Harare in Zimbabwe typifies the best of green architecture and ecologically sensitive adaptation. The office and shopping complex is an architectural marvel in its use of biomimicry principles. It has no conventional air conditioning or heating. What natural structure is it inspired by? The Eastgate Center in Harare in Zimbabwe. What natural structure is it inspired by? Right, a question for the audience. Please head over to Twitter, and under the same tweet which has this question, please give your answers. While you do that, let me quickly explain the final round to our teams that are present here. But even before we do that, we have to take a look at the scoreboard. So the scoreboard, before we move into the final round, this is what it looks like. Yet again, we have answers coming from two participants. Both of you have upgraded their scores by 5 points apiece. Sampad, you move up to 25, and Rabi, you move up to 30, while everybody else hasn't opened their account. Please remember, there are only 2 participants who will qualify for the final from here, for the interzonal final, for the national final. Only 2 participants will qualify. We move on to our final round now. Sampad starts at 25, Rabi starts at 30. It still is anybody's game because there are 100 points to be won. This round is called Triple Trouble. There's 5 questions on the buzzer, 15 seconds of time on the buzzer. You don't see any text of the question on screen. You only see a visual. If by looking at the visual, you think you know the answer, hit the buzzer, step up. If you think you know the answer, take a +20 if you're correct, but a -20 if you're wrong. And if you don't say either step up or step down, you can answer for default, that's +10 and -10. But you do, if there's a question which you think you might know the answer and want to take a chance, but don't want to lose too many points, you can take a step down, +5 if you're correct, -5 if you're wrong, right? And very importantly, I need to hear the word step up or step down before you actually give me the answer. Only then do I give you points that are worth step up or step down, right? If that's clear, we'll start with our first question. First of 5 questions, 100 points to be won. Hands on the buzzer. Here is your first question. Woolarabare Banelong was the first aboriginal man to visit Europe and return. He was an interlocutor between the Aboriginal people and the British. If you are dining at a restaurant that is named for him, as he had a hut on this very historic spot, where would you be in? In which very famous, all right, Shashi Raut has gone for it. On the buzzer, yes, Shashi.
I'm going to step up and take a risk because the word first, Wollongong, sounded that's a place in Australia. So I guess this place is in Australia.
You'll have to give me a better answer than that. You can't just...
Wollongong, Australia.
Wollongong, Australia. All right, I'm afraid that is incorrect. And that's a -20 there, Shashi. That's not the answer that I was looking for. I said it's a historic spot. The hint that I was almost about to give you was, it's a very famous tourist spot. So if you're having, if you're dining here in a restaurant called Benelong, which is named after this Aboriginal man, you are basically dining at the Sydney Opera House. Basically dining at the Sydney Opera House. The fact that you guessed Australia, I mean, perhaps that should have been the guess. But unfortunately, Shashi, that is incorrect. That gets you a -20 because you decided to step up. Right, still 4 questions to go, 80 points to be won. We'll move on to our next question. Here is question number 2. It's a connect. In statistics, it is a kind of data which has no basis in facts, but is often repeated that it is accepted as a fact and it just won't die. In companies, these firms earn just about enough money to continue operating and service their debt. In economics, these are the ideas whose time has come and gone. And in banking, these are the banks that would not continue without government help and are technically insolvent. What word connects all these? On the buzzer is Rabi. Yes, Rabi.
I will step down because I'm not
Step
too
down.
sure. Okay. So I will answer it zombie.
Your answer is?
Zombie.
Zombie is absolutely perfect. That's the answer. That's well done there, Rabi. It is indeed zombie farm, zombie economics, zombie banks, zombie statistics. That's what I was looking for. Well done, Rabi. Since you stepped down, you get a +5. Right, so +5, Rabi. Well done on that. We will move on to our next question. That's number 3 on your screen now. He is credited as the co-author, though it is likely that he wrote the entire memoir, cum business book. For 20 years since the book was published in 1987, he stayed silent about his status as a ghostwriter, but as the other co-author gained popularity, it terrified him. Breaking his silence, he claims to have put lipstick on a pig with the book. Which book? His name is Tony Schwartz. He was the co-author with another person and they published their book in 1987. 2 decades later, this co-author became really famous and it terrified him. And so he said that it seems that I have put lipstick on a pig with the book. Right? So which book is this? So The time is up. There's nobody on the
Non-com
buzzer.
guess.
Shashwat, you hit the buzzer. The buzzer came in too late. You had only 15 seconds to hit the buzzer. However, you can give the answer. What is your answer, Shashwat?
Sir,
But no points.
Donald Trump.
And what would be the book?
Sir, I don't remember the name.
Art of the
Yeah.
deal. Art of the deal. Ajay.
It was Art of the Deal. I needed the name of the book. Otherwise, there were no points coming. So this is Art of the Deal by Tony Schwartz and Donald Trump. So when Donald Trump ran for presidency, and it almost became real that there is a possibility that he will become the president. In his own words, he said that it terrified me. Right. So that's what I was looking for. Art of the Deal by Donald Trump. No points to anyone. 2 questions remain. Here is question number 4. According to a Guardian article that dates back 2000, owing to something yearly, over 423,000 pounds of something is wasted. Here are some stats on the wastage. The first figure, or number A, 27.48 pounds of it is wasted. For the second figure, or B, 12.59 pounds of something is wasted. For the third one, for C, 9.16 pounds are wasted. For the fourth one, 22.9 pounds are worth of something is wasted, right? My question is, what is being wasted and how? Every year, 423,000 pounds of something is wasted. What is being wasted and how? How would you connect to each one of them? There's nobody on the buzzer. I'll have to close this. The answer is pretty interesting. This is beer trapped in mustache and beard, right? So when you have beer, specifically Guinness, I would have given points for beer as well. So when you have beer, it gets trapped in your beard, and for W.G. Grace's beard, 27 pounds of it is wasted. For other people's beard, those were the amount of beer that was wasted. So that was the answer that I was looking for. Nobody getting this one. We'll move on to our final question for the day, for the quiz on your screen now. When Daimler AG decided to enter the Indian market to build medium and heavy commercial vehicles, they talked to Hero MotoCorp, and Daimler Hero Commercial Vehicles, or DHCV, was formed. However, a year later, Hero decided to back off from the venture because of an economic downturn. Rabi on the buzzer.
Okay, so I will guess it as a Bharat Benz.
You will say Bharat Benz. I will complete my question. However, a year later, Hero decided to back off from the venture because of an economic downturn and sold its full 40% stake back to Daimler, with a full stake in the venture now. DHCV was renamed and a new line of products was launched. What brand name am I looking for? Rabi says Bharat Benz. There's nobody else on the buzzer. The answer that I was looking for was also Bharat Benz. That is indeed correct. That's well done, Rabi. You didn't step up, you didn't step down. You still score for default. That's a +10. That's well done. Good answer there, Rabi. And that brings us to the end of what has been a phenomenal quiz. Well done, all participants. Some fine answers coming from 2 of you specifically. We will take a look at the final scores and declare our winners. But for the moment, I bring a couple of audience questions. My first question, or my third question for the audience, you know the drill already. You have to head over to Twitter and give the answers there. What word derived from a Greek word meaning kaiberno, meaning to steer, navigate, or govern, did Norbert Wiener coin and uses as the title of this book, thus introducing one of the computer age's most widely used prefixes? The book is titled Blank, or Control and Communication in the Animal and the Machine. So fill in the blank. A word derived from a Greek word kaiberno. That's a question for the audience. I'll give you about 10-15 seconds while you answer that, and then I move on to the next question. And then we'll continue. Right, here's the second question. In July 2001, EI Digital Security employees Mark Mayfrit and Ryan Perme discovered a computer worm on the internet that attacked servers running on Microsoft's IIS web server. They named it so because they were drinking a certain beverage at the time that I'm speaking of. A worm on the internet that was named because they were drinking a certain beverage at the time. Right, before we declare winners, I would like to request Dr. Kamakshi Raman, who has been patiently witnessing this quiz, to share her experience of what transpired today. Ma'am, please.
Thank you, Ajay. As usual, very interesting quiz. Very nice blend of questions. I'm sure all the 6 of you have enjoyed this, and questions which kept the entire audience also at their edge. Let me confess, I went through the questions. Most of the questions I did not, it just went over my head. By the time, while Ajay and his team, I'm sure you all know the scores, let them formally announce the score. I thought I'll just share an anecdote with you, because this is what I remembered when I was going through this quiz and I could not answer any of it. This is about story of Einstein and his driver. Maybe you would know that, since all of you are quiz masters. You know, it says the New York Times had carried a front page article about Einstein's theory of relativity. And he suddenly became very famous, the famous Dr. Einstein. So he was, as usual, very frequently called by the universities, by the colleges, and very obligingly, he attended all the sessions. He wanted to share his learnings because he wanted to basically spread the interest, the love of his life, the pure physics. So he did not drive. So he had his driver called Harry, who used to take him to these lectures. So many number of lectures, and the Harry, the driver, became very confident about what Professor Einstein used to share in the university with the students. So one day when coming back, he said, "Professor, I think I have heard your lecture so many times. If you ever need me, I can do this on your behalf." He smiled, and once when he was not feeling very well, and he got a call from a university, Brown University, for a lecture, and he requested Harry, the driver, "Can you do my part? Since the university authorities they have not seen me, they will not be able to make out." And both of them went there, and Professor Einstein decided to sit in the corner of the auditorium. And Harry was marching towards the podium. He heard 2 young boys talking amongst themselves as to who among them are smarter. And one of them said, "I'm smarter than Dr. Einstein, Professor Einstein. And to prove that, after his lecture, I'm going to ask him a question. Even he cannot answer." And this Harry, the driver, was going to the podium that time, and he was delivering a lecture. And he completed it to perfection. So nobody could make out that it was the driver and not Dr. Einstein. So just when he was about to leave, when he was descending from the podium, that young boy, graduate student, asked him a very complicated question. Theory of relativity, a lot of complex calculation, a lot of equations. Very quick on his feet, Harry said, "Oh, you are asking such a simple question. I feel very ashamed to give an answer to such a simple question. My driver is sitting in the back of the auditorium. I'm sure even my driver can answer this." So that's how it is. So one or any of the question, I could say all the 6 of you can answer so wonderfully well. Thank you very much for a wonderful quizzing session today. So over to you, Ajay, for announcing the winners. People are going to go to the final round. Thank you.
Right, thank you, ma'am. Thank you so very much for those lovely words and that very interesting story. Now, for the moment that we've all been waiting for, we'll take a look at the final scores and identify the 2 participants that will qualify for the national round representing the East Zone. But before we identify them, we need to identify the 4 participants that have missed out, but nevertheless still stay at home richer than what they started out this quiz with. So our final scores for the East Zone Udaan Business Quiz for 2021. Winning 5,000 rupees each are our participants Shashi Raut from SAIL CMO, Jyotirmay Rautia from SAIL Rourkela, Abhijit Patnaik from SAIL Rourkela, and Shashwat Seth also from Rourkela Steel Plant. Unfortunately, it was a day that didn't quite work out for them. But well done on qualifying for the East Zone round. Congratulations to each one of you. I'm sure each one of you can now finally afford to smile. But for the 2 participants that will qualify and represent the East Zone in the national final, starting with 2nd place. In 2nd place, finishing with a score of 25 points and winning a prize of rupees 15,000 is and our winner for the day, winning a prize of rupees 25,000, started strong, ended strong, is Ravi Shankar Saha from Capgemini with a score of 45. Well, congratulations to both Sampad Mishra and Ravi Shankar. I will see you again in the national final. That is that for what has been a phenomenal start to the new season of Udaan Business Leadership Quiz. And we hope and expect to see the other zones only leveling up a notch or 2, maybe from here. Thank you again to all our sponsors. The Udaan Business Quiz is presented by Steel Authority of India Limited, National HRD Network Ranchi Chapter, and National HRD Network. Our associate sponsor, NTPC Limited. Zonal sponsors, Tata Communications and SMS Group. National prize sponsors, Hexagon and MD India. And zonal prize sponsors, UPRNNL and Sarvesh Refractory. And a special mention to Tata Communications again, who were the sponsors for this particular zone. Thank you to each one of you. Congratulations to the winners today, and viewers, I look forward to you tuning in again tomorrow, where qualifiers from the West Zone battle head to head for 2 spots in the national final. Who will be the best of the West? Find out at 8 p.m. tomorrow. Goodbye for now.